And I think if anyone wondered of the value of GALs, you only had to look to the Primetime Investigates programme last night. We saw and heard from GALs who are powerful voices for the children that they look after, speak for and very much support through what can be a very challenging state care system. We also heard from Judge Dermot Sims in particular, who I had in here last month for a briefing along with GALs to speak to the very serious concerns they have and he has for the National Service. On a number of occasions, the GALs have to, for want of a better word, go up against 𝐓𝐶𝐶 in a courtroom to speak for and advocate for a child. I cannot fathom how you can retain the independence of GALs while they go up against 𝐓𝐶𝐶, both under the one minister and the one department, and that is where the question mark over independence is. And as you know, there's an issue which I've raised many times in terms of legal representation, and I cannot understand how that cannot be maintained in terms of guaranteed legal representation.
Thanks very much, Deputy. I don't for a single second underestimate the importance and the powerful advocacy of the Guardian ad litem. They are hugely, hugely important, and this process is to ensure that they have the appropriate supports, that they have the appropriate regulation, and that everything is as it should be. And indeed, again, I would just reiterate, for many, many years there has been calls to look at this system, to see how we can do better and to ensure that the voice of the child is very much so at the centre. So they are a very powerful resource. I don't take from that in any shape or form. Just in terms of the points that you raised there in terms of legal representation, there has been no question and will be no question in terms of access to legal representation. Advice will be available at all times, and in actual fact, the head of legal has recently been appointed. If the guardians are party to a case, bringing a case, or it's a special care application, they will automatically also then have legal representation. In terms of their independence, there are many examples of ageing bodies under one department and being entirely independent. So I want to be clear, the purpose here is to ensure that it is a service that does as it sets out to do, the voice of the child being heard. We're doing all that we can to ensure that that will be the case.
Minister, when I hosted Gali and Judge Dermot Simmons last month, one case example I have asked for them to share with me, they shared at that briefing, and they spoke about two children under the age of 16 who were received into care for the first time, and they were placed in an SEA, which we saw much of in last night's programme. This was the first time they were placed into care. There was nothing else available. 𝐓𝐶𝐶 reported on the SAA over several months, and they noted the staff were engaging positively with the children every day. The children were comfortable and settled. The placement was being overseen by an allocated 𝐓𝐶𝐶 SEA supervisor. Now, when the GAL went, met with the children directly, met with the parents, the school, 𝐓𝐶𝐶 and the SAI staff, they uncovered the children were not being offered breakfast in the SAI. They were in school early enough to avail of the breakfast club, but they weren't actually enrolled in any breakfast club. The positive engagement was an hourly safe and well-being check of the children in their bedrooms. There was no attempt at connection. These were children that were found to be caring for themselves. And lastly, the supervisor had visited the placement and was recorded as having met the children, met the staff, and having completed a risk assessment in one 21-minute visit. So I think now more than ever we need the GALs to have their independence, and we need that legal protection retained.
Minister.
Thanks very much. Again, Deputy, I do want to reiterate that the entire purpose here is to ensure that the Guardian ad litem service is doing what it should do. Want to recognise they are an incredibly powerful resource, hugely important in terms of presenting the view of a child. This is to strengthen that. This is to ensure that the system works. It is important that the system is regulated. There is absolutely no doubt about that. It is important that the cases that have been made in terms of access to legal support, that is there, and there is no question of that. There is no question of their independence either. We can quote many other bodies that operate within a department, within the aegis of a department or whatever. I do want to say that in terms of the changes that have been brought in here, there has been extensive consultation right across the board in relation to this. Again, we're saying further consultations, town hall events, meetings, engagements, further engagements again again, as we said, from mid-May, and it will continue. But this is to ensure that we have the best possible service in place.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share.